The River Valley Media Group is proud to present Stories of Honor again. Each of the veterans recognized in our special section and in this video tribute were nominated by people in the community. The River Valley Media Group is proud to be able to do this with our sponsors. Our title sponsor is LHI. Our gold sponsor is Carpets to Go. There are many other sponsors: Mansour's, Firefighters Credit Union, Leon Country Floors and More, The Marble Shop, Freight House Restaurant, The Board Store, Miller's Tree Service, RTP Company, and Benedictine. Thanks to all.
OptumServe is proud to sponsor Stories of Honor. This is deeply personal for us. Service members, veterans, and military families are our friends and family, our colleagues, our customers. It's a privilege to serve them with the work we do every day, and to share their stories with all of you through Stories of Honor.
Former Galesburg resident John Sheen spent 23 years in the Army while being deployed 21 times, including 3 times to Kosovo, 6 times to Iraq, and 7 times to Afghanistan. He served in the Army from 1996 to 2019 when he retired as a Sergeant Major E9, the highest enlisted rank someone can obtain in the armed forces. A GET high school graduate who attended Winona State University, he now lives in Winter Garden, Florida. I decided to join the service primarily because I knew there was more out there for me, Sheen said. I served for 23 years because I absolutely loved it. I loved serving our great country and having the ability to see so many different countries and places. He said he hopes everyone understands that when our service members are deployed, they are doing so on their behalf and could not do it without all the love and support. The strength of a service member comes from what they leave behind. Philip Thompson knew that Vietnam was a dangerous place before his country sent him there. While stationed in 1965 at Kimbrough Air Army Hospital in Maryland as a mail clerk, he witnessed the overflow from Walter Reed Hospital just 10 miles away. I used to take mail to the wards, and I noticed on the 3rd floor these soldiers coming back wounded, Thompson said. I asked this one guy, he had a leg off, where he was coming from, and he said, I was at Walter Reed and it was too crowded. They sent me down here. Thompson grew up on a farm near Cazenovia with a passion for baseball, but that was interrupted in 1963 when he was drafted into the Army. He remained stateside until President Lyndon B. Johnson ordered a buildup of 500,000 troops. After returning home, he got a job at the Badger Ordnance Plant south of Baraboo. Looking back, Thompson said, soldiers suffered brutal conditions in Vietnam, exacerbated by weather and dealing with an uncertain battlefield where the enemy wasn't clearly defined. It wasn't like the First or Second World War where you knew the enemy was right in front of you, he said. In Vietnam, they were all around you, fighting in the jungle. You didn't know where you were at.
Louis Ferris has been leading a life of service since he was a teenager. He joined the Army National Guard in the 1940s, still just a high schooler at the time. He then enlisted in the United States Air Force, where he served as a staff sergeant for 8 years, including overseas in the Korean War. But Ferris's service did not end after he returned home to La Crosse, and he has been continuously working for the community ever since, even at the age of 91 while battling stage 4 cancer. Ferris has been instrumental in veterans advocacy in the area, spearheading the veterans memorials in La Crosse and working with Hmong Lao veterans. No cause has been too small for Ferris, and he has never hesitated to speak up for something he believed in, from raising money for flagpoles to volunteering for nonprofits, starting protests, and mentoring the next generation. Ferris still weeds and prunes around the memorials he has helped erect at Veterans Freedom Park. The memorials, they create a place for grief and provide a place to remember the Americans that we lost. We establish a place for healing, Ferris said. For Ferris, who still lives in the house he was born in on the north side, staying passionately involved in the community is an easy choice. I don't see it as giving back to the community, Ferris said. I'm active in the community. Psychologist Larry Germanson knows about shock. Helping himself and others learn to live with the effects of jolting mental trauma has become his life's work. Germanson attended Logan High School. When he was 17, he enlisted in the U.S. Army, undergoing basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He was deployed to Vietnam in October 1966 as part of the 25th Infantry Division and was stationed near the demilitarized zone. It was another culture shock, he said. He was recognized for his actions and received the Bronze Star with V for Valor, as well as 2 Purple Hearts. When he returned home, Germanson attended Viterbo College for his undergraduate work in psychology. He continued his studies in Dublin, Ireland. He has dedicated his life to help veterans who have experienced depression and anxiety and have PTSD issues. Giving back to the community and helping build a better world was the least I could do, Germanson said. Wherever they needed me, I was willing to go. We helped survivors cope with life-changing events. Germanson understands the difficulties people struggling with PTSD face because he's dealt with the disorder himself. They go through the same thing I went through. Marvin Elson will always remember March 3, 1969 as the beginning of a major change in his life. That was the day he was drafted into the U.S. Army. Born and raised in La Crosse, Elson found himself at age 21 on the other side of the world, having been deployed to Vietnam. He arrived August 1, 1969, where he was assigned to the 9th Infantry Division in the Mekong Delta region. During his tour, he was a member of a reconnaissance team taking part in 161 helicopter missions. Basically, we would fly helicopters into a swamp or a very rough terrain to make sure it was safe for fellow GIs and the civilians, and that there were no more enemies there, Elson said. If we didn't draw fire, it was considered safe for troops to move in. Elson soon became the radio operator for his unit and manned the radio for 9.5 months until the end of his overseas tour. Upon returning home, Elson started his 32-year career at La Crosse Footwear, working there until it closed. Starting out on the line, he worked his way up to production manager, overseeing around 500 employees.